So I've never seen this movie before, but yesterday I did some drugs and I watched for the first time Donald J. Darko. And this movie, I gotta say, this movie, usually I'm pretty good at following like a really bizarre plot lines. Usually I'm very good at this. But this movie, my God, I don't know if it was short-term memory loss from the various cannabis products I was ingesting, but I was having a very difficult time following this movie. But anyway, this movie was really good. I just want to say, my favorite part of this movie, Donald J. Darko, was I love that they like had like several parts of the movie that were just like music montages. And so, like, you know, like the part where he's going to school and it just plays like a full song, you know, and then like the ending where it just plays like a full song. I think more movies need to do that. One of my least favorite things that is in movies is when they like have like a music track play for like 10 seconds and then like I'm like, it's like, oh shit, this is a banger, I love this song, and then it's over. Right? I love when movies like let a full song play, and I think that that's super cool. So I just want to say shout outs to the music in this movie. They did a really good job with the full song montages, and the rest of the music in this movie as well is pretty good. But wow, this movie's plot line, fucking bizarre, and I loved it. Now again, normally I'm very good with obscure plot lines, so I think I get this movie. Right, but I'm not sure. Right, and this is a movie that I'll definitely watch again, and I think on my second watch I'll understand it a lot better. But yeah, this movie is very good. So anyway, like the mood of this movie, like the cinematography, like the way dialogue is spoken, right? Like just like the overall atmosphere of this film is top notch. I really enjoyed it. Right, like again. Like, you know, just the mood, like the characters and the way they think and behave, and like, you know, the environment, like the world that they're in, right? So anyway, so you got Donald J. Darko, who has like some like form of schizophrenia or some sort of disorder where he like basically sees like ghosts or people talking to him essentially. And then there's elements of time travel, right? So the whole movie is the first, like, you know, up until the ending, right? The movie is one timeline, and then it like travels backward in time, but I'll get to that in a second. And so anyway, so near the start of the movie, it shows Donald J. Darko meeting one of his, like, you know, apparitions, right, in a golf course. And then he goes home, right, where that apparition tells him that there's like 28 days until the world ends or something. And then Donald J. Darko goes home to find out that his house got hit with a jet engine or something, like some mysterious plane engine, just the engine, not the plane, smashed into his bedroom in his house. But he was too busy sleepwalking in the golf course, so he survived a near-death experience. And then the whole movie takes place, and then it rewinds to that scene, and turns out he's dead, by the way, spoiler alert. But fuck you. Anyway, so the rest of the movie is basically exploring the character of Donald J. Darko. And so, like, he goes to a therapist of some kind. The therapist is, like, you know, in my opinion, not a really good therapist. But anyway, like, it explores, like, the inner consciousness of the main character, Donnie Darko, in a really interesting way. One of my favorite parts of this movie was the line where it's like, every human or every life, all life on Earth, like, dies alone or something. In my opinion, that's the best line of the movie. And it's true, right? If you believe, which science has backed this up, but I believe this, if you believe that when your brain dies, like when your life ends, right? This is what I was thinking about because I'm on drugs when I watched this movie, right? Like, when your life ends, right, your brain produces a unique combination of chemicals that results in, you know, when people like die or whatever and they get brought back to life, or like their heart stops and they die and they get brought back to life. A lot of people say that they saw God, or they saw, you know, all these kinds, saw like my life flash before my eyes. This has been scientifically backed up, is that when people die, right, their brain produces unique combinations that result in all kinds of experiences, right? And I would, you know, like the concept of every living thing on Earth dying alone seems true because no one can join you in those hallucinatory experiences before death. Anyway, So I think that that was a really good concept. But one of the other parts of this movie that I thought was really good was the grandma death character, who just like walks back and forth in the middle of the street to her mailbox, right? And then one of the other parts of the movie is that Donnie Darko is trying to deliver mail to her. And so I don't know, maybe on a second watch I could see some more angles on this, but like throughout the movie, right, like she, like, they drive down the street and almost hit her. There's like a meme in the movie is that, the 101-year-old who wrote a book in the movie universe called The Philosophy of Time Travel that Donnie gets his hands on, just walks around in the street and checks her mail all day. And so, yeah, I don't know what version of this movie I watched. People in the chat are talking about there's a different cut. I watched whatever version is on HBO Max. So if anyone wants to Google what version of this movie is on HBO Max, that's the one I watched. But I don't know. I didn't know that there was two versions. So just, let me know which one I saw. But anyway, so I think that it's, there's a lot of time travel stuff. But anyway, so one of Donnie Darko's hallucinations, right, is that he sees someone in a bunny costume named Frank, and Frank is telling him to do a bunch of violent acts that I'm not quite sure why those actions were taking place, burning down someone's house, revealing them to be a pedophile, and so of course, I mean, it's that's righteous, right? Getting a pedophile arrested. One of my favorite parts of this movie is when Donnie is just mouthing off to authority. I think that shit's super cool. I was right, when he was telling that fucking weird religious fucking teacher or whatever that you can't just put things into the world isn't binary, right? And then he gets in trouble and suspended for telling her to shove a book up her ass. I thought that was great. I don't know, I hate authority, right? So that was really good stuff. But anyway, so Frank, his hallucination, tells him to do a bunch of things that he does throughout the movie, but I don't quite know. Oh, again, this is a movie I'll probably watch a second time, and I might do a second review if I watch it again at some point. But I don't quite understand exactly what a lot of those actions were for. But anyway, at the end of the movie, there's a big crescendo at the end where it reveals that, so the end of the movie takes place on Halloween or Halloween Eve or whatever. And so he finds out that Frank, who is in a bunny costume, is a real person who he ends up shooting at the end of the movie. Now, earlier, when his hallucination version of Frank exposes himself to him, takes his bunny mask off, he sees that he has an eye that's been shot out. And at the end, he doesn't have that eye that's shot out, and then he shoots his eye out. And so, then that's the loop, right? So Frank or whatever, was the whole thing a hallucination, right? Did Donnie actually die? And then this was just I don't even know. I don't know. I gotta watch this movie again. It seems that yes, you watch the director's cut. I don't know what the differences are. I don't know which one is supposed to be better either. And so, anyway, but whatever version, I'll maybe try to watch the other version. But anyway, really good movie. I love the part with the fucking bullshit that comes out of their chests or whatever. That shit was cool as hell, right? And then when you look into a little bit into the philosophy of is there any such thing as free will? Do you actually have free will? Personally, I don't believe in free will. 2 hours 14. This movie was not 2 hours and 14 minutes. The movie on HBO Max was an hour and 50. So I guess I did not watch the director's cut then. But anyway, so anyway, there's no such thing as free will. Personally, I don't think there's anything as free will is an illusion. It's a hallucination that's granted upon us by our conscious brains in a way to make us want to propagate the species, because if we were to perceive the world in such a way that there is no free will, that would probably make us depressed. And so our brains, evolutionarily speaking, have evolved to have the illusion of free will, which I believe does not exist, but I still have the illusion of it, right? So that's a complicated thing in my brain. But anyway, so they get into this in the sense that it's if you see your future, you have the chance to change it. But Donnie Darko, of course, doesn't buy that bullshit, and so he, just follows the thing coming out of his chest. I don't know, it's really bizarre. I love the effect of this movie, really bizarre stuff. But anyway, I personally don't believe in free will. I think that time is all fixed. I think everything that has ever happened has already happened, and everything that ever will happen has already happened. Time is as fixed as a dimensional space, as a dimension as space, in that sense. So, but anyway, that's a whole different story. Anyway, this movie was really good. Like, again, the mood, the atmosphere, right? All really, really, like, top notch. And again, like, I'm super into movies that, like, are movies you don't just watch once, right? Like, this is a movie I feel like I'll probably watch a couple more times. And so I'm into it. I'll definitely watch this again. But I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff I'm missing here, but this is my analysis after watching this movie the first time. And I know that there's a sequel. Given the chat, people have very mixed opinions on the sequel. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But it appears I watched the standard edition on HBO Max because it was around 150 minutes. So anyway, maybe I'll watch the director's cut next. I don't know. But anyway, really good. I liked it. It was a really good movie. I thought it was super chill, very fun. And again, for me, I know a lot of people have a hard time following complicated movies. I know, like, for me, usually I'm very good at following complicated plots. But like, this one got me. I was very confused at the end, and I had to think about it a little bit. And I'm still not quite sure if I quite understand what it is supposed to be saying, but also I'm under the impression this movie is designed to be watched multiple times to really get the full plot. So, how many inches of shrooms do you recommend taking before watching this movie? I did not watch this movie on shrooms, unfortunately, but next time I will. So I'll let you know next time I review the film. But yeah, good-ass film, Donald J. Darko. Excellent character, by the way. Excellent character. And just really good movie. I really liked it. I don't know. Really good. Endorsed. Actually, let me turn it back on because Sal made me want to talk more. I think I understood what was happening really until the ending. I mean, I get the ending. I understand how the ending, like, is the whole thing a hallucinate? Like, who knows, right? Like, is he a ghost? Is it all like, is it his near-death experience? Like, he dies, but then, like, he hallucinates, like, what he would have happened if he didn't die. Like, there's a lot, there's a lot going in there. But, like, yeah, like, I followed the plot pretty well up until, like, the ending, because it's open, like, it's an open to interpretation kind of thing, which I like. I like movies that are open to interpretation that don't really have, like, fixed answers. But anyway, like, yeah, like, the movie was very bizarre. It was very hard to keep track of why and how and when and all these things were occurring. And I still don't quite understand why Frank had told Donald J. Darko to commit those violent acts or whatever, like, destroying a school or burning a house down. I don't quite understand why that was a thing, other than maybe to pad the movie out. But anyway, good movie. I endorse it. There you go.